In this video, we will dive into the movie Nezha 2. We will discuss the storyline, summarize the plot, and explore the cast and character. Additionally, we will cover the movie's production details and box office performance. Finally, we will provide reviews and share personal reaction. So let's get started. The films open with a recap of the previous adventure. The show's part was split into creating the spare pearl and the diamond orb. The films open with a recap of the previous adventure. The show's pearl was split into two, creating the spirit pearl and a diamond orb. From the spirit pearl was born O being Alex, son of the Dragon King. O Jung from the diamond orb came Nisa, the third son of Li Jing, who was raised by him and his wife, Lady Yin. Nisa's diamond nature made people afraid of him, but together O being, they joined forces in saving San Jining Pass. A blast of gory lightning destroyed their bodies, as well proficient by their soul have been recovered to put in new bodies. Master takes Nisa and all beings soul into dawn, where their bodies are rebuilt using the Lotus Lord's best. Nisa tries to give himself a strong and handsome body, but settles for his regular childlike from after several failed attempts. As Sky puts both bodies in the scared Lotus, Jintianing Pass comes under attack from Shan, all beings former Diamond Master. Is working with the Longs, the Dragon Kings of the Four Seas. Our gang believes all being to be dead, so he has Gangbo lead them to attack Jintianing Pass. The Longs attack the city, but our beings uses his power to set up a massive strike. The effect causes our being party to quickly wear out. So Chai suggests that he had and Nisa share the same body so that our being's soul will stuck around. Chai mentions an exiler in the Yuzu village that will repair the scared Luchas so that our being can get a new body. Our gang agrees to the deal, but Nisa and our being must now to go through 3 trial within 7 days to become a Xian. They know that they must conceal Nisa's true identity as a demon. Our gang promises to destroy the Chanting Pass if our being is not saved, but Nisa responds that he will retaliate if a gang harm his home. The townsfolk gather along with Li Jing and Yin to bid Nisa and our being farewell. Jin tries to give her son a huge goodbye, but he is too embarrassed to do so. The boy joined Try on his flying beak to train and then head to the Yuzo place when Nisa takes a sleeping pill so that our being can take over his body. They meet Immortal Wailing, who leads the other Immortal alongside his disciples in the Chan Sagdiro, and Gana. Nisa works up and takes over his own body. Then as Gana takes him to the bathroom, he ends up in a room with leaf ball that look like toilet, only to discover later that they are water ball that the immortals drink from after he's already peed in one. Shan Gangbo is tasked by the Ao Gang to God's Chanting Pass along with Li Jing and Lady Win, training himself along with his creature like this. Gangbo is soon met by his younger brother, Shan Xiabu Adian, who passes a Nisa and Ao being held for their first trial, which is to rid a village of an army of mermaid demons. Nisa first makes a bowl of food out of one of their hands, leading to it as screaming and getting the attention of their leader. Nisa goes into sleep mode while Ao being takes over and utilizes his combat skill, but Nisa wakes up and gets thrown around by his mermaid opponent. The sleeping pills fall into the mermaid's stew, which Nisa drinks all of. Ao being resumes the fight, but Nisa pukes his stew and resort to drinking it back to gain the upper hand. The disciples proceed to capture the mermaid. The boys join Try is William guides them to meet the other immortal, where Willing shows them that he has created immortality pills to boost their power. Meanwhile, Nisa has some insecurities and overbecome an immortal because of his appearance and demon status, but he vows to all being that he will gain his immortality. The second trial began, where the master Richard is training other animal damaged by a waterfall. Nezha arrives and insults the master before letting our being takes over. He uses his fighting skill well at first, but the master is able to produce the electric currents in the water, making him stronger and faster. Our being freezes this entire landscape, leading to the disciple to recapture the animal and the master. Shan Xiaobo emerged from witnessing the scene as the master is his and Gangbo's father. Shan Zhengdu revert to his animal from the attack. The disciples Diro fires an arrow at Xiaobo, but Zentigo takes the hit before getting out of there. Diro tries to fire 50 arrows at once, but escape before the rest of the diamonds are taken in. Zabo makes it back to the Sentening Pass and appears to die in a shan, causing him to grow age towards Nisa. Before beginning the final trial, Nisa and Tai are informed that Sentening Pass has been destroyed. They return to find this place in ruins, apparently caused by the Longs. Nisa is led to believe that his parents were also killed in the destruction. Filled with fury, Nisa sets off his being spirit outside of his body. He encounters a stone demon, Shiji, who transforms into a gigantic stone monster, but Nisa knocks her down to what Nisa is. With this, the third trial is completed, and Nisa meets with the willing to complete the ascension spell. After gaining his immortality, Nisa agrees to join Willing in the attack the dragon place. Meanwhile, Toy uses the elixir to destroy our being's body. Arrives before our gang and presents a giant that will serve as a prison of the dragon. Our gang learns that his siblings have betrayed him and are working with him. As a result, they are able to escape imprisonment. Nisa fights our gang, still believing him to be responsible for the destructions of Chantang Pass. Walling then starts his plan to turn his prisoner into pill. Nisa is stunned to find his parents arriving to get him, causing him to become overwhelmed with emotion. They reveal that the wedding is due to villain, as he overstated the attack on the Sun Channing Pass to blame on the Lungs. Our flashback shows that the Shan Gangbo became aware of the scheme and helped Li Jing, and Lady Win briefly turned to stone to escape the unharmed. By framing our gag and the Lungs, Wailing would ensure Nisha's sect's total domination. Nisha and our being battle Jiru, Kana and the Dragon Kings in their humanoid forms. After a lengthy fight, Nisha and our being go for Wailing, but he uses a heart-piercing curse that he produces spike from the inside out of their bodies, imprisons the heroes inside the cauldron. Inside the cauldron, the increasing heat is turning these trapped demons into pill. It requires way to move. The forces would destroy their bodies. Lady Wind chooses to hug her son one last time. Despite the little effect it will have on her, Nisa wails in agony as his mother dies and turns to a pill. Consumed with grief and rage, Nisa uses the fires of the cauldron to break the form the curse, transforming his body into his stronger teenage form, making him physically closer to enraged Aobing. Nisa and Aobing uses their combined forces to break free from the cauldron and they proceed to go after Wailing. After dealing with the disciple, the boy face of the engaged Wailing, who goes from a small old man to a hackline brute, the producer's branches. Nisa and Aobing team up and pummel Wailing to a pulp, forcing the villains to retreat. Afterwards, Aobing leads his remaining forces into hiding. Aobing nearly joins him, but his father can see that he wants to stay with Nisa. Aobing bids his father farewell and rejoins Nisa. The two friends then agree to continue fighting together. During the credits, Wailing is joined by Tiro and Kana as they check in one jeep imprisoned Shen Gangbo and Zento, hoping to require them for his side. After leaving means to go back, but he put Igor outside the prison in a trance and only he can update the facial recognition scanner since Wailing face is still howling. Since the scanner cannot recognize him, Jiro and cannot start beating up Wailing until he looks like how the scanner will recognize him. Meanwhile, Niza's brothers Jinza and Musa arrive at the place to meet the Wailing, only to find he is not injured. Niza and Ao being were burned as a result of the show's pearl splitting into the diamond orb and spirit pearl. The two defied their own odds to be heroes, but were out bodies and need new ones rebuilt. Our being's body is destroyed again after finding of an attack on chanting passed by the Dragon Kings. Niza's master Chai agrees to put our being's spirit in the Niza body to share while they undergo. Three trial to see Niza can become an immortal and gain an exceller that will restore to being body. Nisa meets the immortal later, voiling who he has a plan to create pills for the others immortal to boost their strength. Nisa completes the trial with our being's help, leading to voiling his disciple to capture demons, including Nishan Zengo, the father of the boy's former enemy, Shen Gongbao, to display it in the first place. Before the final trial, Nisa learned that his Shen training pass was destroyed and that his parents were killed seemingly by the Dragon's Kings. Nisa's parents turn out to be alive, revealing that Wolling has the real culprit as he worked with the Dragon Kings who betrayed our gang. Our being's father, hoping to frame the dragon, Wolling aims to gain total domination for his sect of immortal. He traps Nisa, our being, and many others in his cauldron to turn them into ripples. Nisa's mother sacrifices herself to hold her son again, leading to an ingredient in Nisa to break from curse and gain a restore to our being. They use their power to break free and defeat the Wailing. Nisa and our beings continue to fight together. Meanwhile, Wailing has captured Shin Gangbo and Zhengdubo, hoping to recreate them for his cause. Nisachu begins the English dub screening in the American theater on Thursday, starting the voice of the Oscar-winning Michelle Yeoh as Letizian. Distributor 84 handled the releases of the English dub in American theater in the partnership with Chinese company CMC Picture, and the movie will screen in IMAX and 3D formats. Nisachu has grossed about $2.2 million globally, making it the highest-grossing animated movie in history, taking the title from last year's smash hit Inside Out 2. The review from American film critics wrote in Thursday as the movie opened in the United States, earning a 94% certified fresh score on 84 said the film is a milestone in modern animation, merging emotionally resonant storytelling, mythological spectacle, and cutting-edge visually artistry in statement. You told reporters on Thursday, the movie is a beautiful story and said the hoped moviegoer would stop seeing it as, oh, it is Chinese film. She said the film is very important because audiences can learn about the ancient Chinese mythology, as Nizato is based on ancient Chinese warrior and demigod. American critics gave Nizato positive reviews. New York Times critic Maya Phillips praised the movie as ambitious and a testament to the level of artistry in the Chinese animation industry right now. In a review Thursday, Phillips said the movie is imaginative and unpredictable, and said the skill level of the animator is the most impressive part. San Francisco Chronicle critic Michael O'Donnell said the movie is a must-see, calling it a work of astounding visual immigration. Seattle Tamil writer Kunalu said the movie deserves its accolades, setting the Niza on a universe rival the Marvel franchise in scale and spectacle. In a less positive review, Washington Post critics Chris Klimek praised the movie as visually stunning but narratively opaque, stating it can be confusing for those unfamiliar with Chinese legend. Klimek considered the movie's English release cultural imperialism in reverse, noting USC blockbusters often got a big boost from the Chinese box office. Chinese interest in the American film has waned in the recent year. Niza Cho opened in Chinese theater in January, 5 years after its predecessor. Nezha grossed more than $740 million in its theatrical run. Multiple outlets reported the movie sold more than $300 million tickets in China, equal to about a fifth of the country's population. Deadline reported the movie benefited from its releasing during the Lunar New Year, when workers have time off, adding the movie became a sense of national pride. Deadline also said China had worked to build more movie theater in recent years, and the government offered $80 million in subsidized tickets. China's Nizacho has dominated the first quarter of 2025 at the global box office, raking in over $2 million and becoming the highest grossing animated films and sixth highest grossing film ever at press time. The film has certainly overperformed expectations, and but there was plenty of clues that a box office boom for Chinese animation was in the card. Before Nisa, Bonnie Bears was the country's big animated IP. In 2024, the franchise crossed the $1 billion mark with its 10th feature. Bonnie Bear's stamp twist in 2023, Light Chasers Animation's historical epic change and proved a smash hit, grossing $250 million at the box office, outperforming films from the biggest US and Japanese studio that year. Chinese animations often refer to a Django has a long and storied history, but has truly come into its own in the past decade, with the introduction and the development of advanced and expensive animation technology and a growing pool of talented animators. Chinese studios have been able to produce a high quality animated film that rival those of stronger traditional market. This shift was driven by a combination of factors, including the increased investment in the entertainment sector. Government support has a bargaining domestic market, as demonstrated by the popularity of Chinese animations and important titles from Japan and the US. One of the key milestones in the rise of Chinese animation was the 2019 release of Nisa, directed by Yu Yang. The film retells a classic Chinese mythological tale and became a massive hit domestically. It grossed over $700 million worldwide, making it the highest grossing animated film in China at the time. This success paved the way of more ambitious project and set the stage of releasing its high anticipated sequel Nizacho. Released on January 29, Nizacho has taken the global box office by storm. The film, helmed by the returning director Yu, continues the story of Niza, a rebellious and powerful young deity. The sequel has not only lived up to the expectations set by its predecessor but also has surpassed them into almost everywhere. Niza 2 not only has crossed over $2 billion worldwide, making it the first Chinese film to achieve this milestone, it has also maintained a record breaking run in IMAX with a cumulative total of over $150 million worldwide. Those totals pushed Nizacho past IMAX mega hits such as Interstellar, $145 million, Avenger, Infinity War, $145.8 million, and Dune 2. The film's box office total have room for the further growth, with upcoming releases planned in Europe and Asia. The success of Nizato is not just a financial triumph but also a significant cultural milestone. The film's storyline, which blends traditional Chinese mythology with modern themes of the individualism and self-determination, has resonated with the audiences worldwide. This fusion of old and new has allowed Nizajo to transcend culture, boundaries, and appeal to a diverse global audience. Chinese animations often relies on the country's rich culture's history for inspiration. Recent examples include last year's Into the Mortal World, which used the traditional Chinese astronomical concept of the 28th mansion spirit as a narrative device for its romantic lead, 2023 historical epic Shenzhen, based on the interviewing life stories of the legendary poet Gyoshi and Li by King, adapted from the story of King Gesar, and more controversially the season series of the animated short produced by Chinese shared broadcaster China Media Group using the artificial intelligence to recreate some of the country's most iconic stories. Nisatu's unprecedented success has set a new benchmark for Chinese animations and has surely opened the door for future projects. It has demonstrated that Chinese animated film can compete with the Hollywood production and achieve global recognition. This success will likely inspire other Chinese studios to invest in high quality animation projects and explore new storytelling possibilities. It has already inspired international distributors to take a second look to the country animation expert. The film global's reach has also highlighted the potential of Chinese animation to serve as culture bridge, fosters creative understanding and the appreciation of the country's culture worldwide as more Chinese animated films gain international acclaim. They will have a greater impact on the global animation landscape and contribute to the diversification of the industry. It's not hard to imagine future artists emulating Chinese style and story like many Western studios now draw inspiration from Japanese anime. There is a little deep doubt that China stands ready to take its place as a global animation leader that will compete in both creative and commercial terms with any other territory. A generally quiet weekend at the international box office amid holdover play for the major studio title and start of staggered release for newer entry nevertheless included another milestone for Chinese phenomenon Nezha 2, which has moved up to become the fifth highest grossing movie ever worldwide. The Nezha 2 total in China through Sunday, according to Mayon, is a little over RMB 14.86B, 2.054B using today exchange rate, adding grosses in excess of $31 million from markets outside China, and the global total rises to more than 2.085 billion. The places the animated sequel just above Star Wars, The Force Awakens $2.07 million on the all-time global chart. In China alone, Mayon is projecting the NZ2 will funnel at RMB $15.2 billion, $2.1 billion ex-China rollout continue in Indonesia on March 21, while several European releases are ahead of as well as Japan. In IMAX, the running global QM is $155 million, the sixth biggest IMAX release ever. Of that, $151 million is from China. In the UK, IMAX screen wrapped $35 million of the previous launch this weekend, giving Nizacho the biggest local language opening for the format in the market. For more on Nizacho blockbusters performances, see here. In studio play, Warner Bros. Mickey 17 reached $90.5 million worldwide after the sophomore session of wide releases. The weekend added $15.6 million overseas, 37%. For an international box office cum of $57.2 million, Bong Joon-ho Shom, 12 of Korea's, continued to lead play with $17.9 million after 3 frames, followed by the UK $5.8 million, France $5.3 million, Germany $2.8 million, and Mexico $2.5 million. Related to Nizachu review, Chinese blockbuster is usually engaging, but its elaborate plot is a challenge. The IMAX total is $10.2 million, so for worldwide $14.2 million. The global cum update. Disney Marvel's Captain America Brave New World added $6 million from 52 market in the fifth weekend, minus 38%, taking the overseas cum to $2.203 million for $383.6 million global. Related Chinese record breaking the animation, Ni Zhaozhou sold to Trinity China's Asia for 37 territories across UK and Europe. The top 5 markets are the UK $22 million, Mexico $15.2 million, China $14.4 million, France $13.6 million, and Korea $11.3 million. On Wednesday, Disney crossed $1 billion global for 2025 so far. becoming the first studio for the year to the mark. This week, Disney's live section is now wide his cinema worldwide. Universal working titles Bridget Jones made About the Boy added another $5.4 million, minus 31%. This weekend in the 75 markets, taking the Uni International Kyungjo $112.6 million, in line with the Bridget Jones baby, Biggest Jones daddy, and the Biggest Jones, the edge of reasons and well above anyone but you and Ticket to Paradise, including France, where Sansigal releases the offshore total is now $1.911 million. In the UK this weekend, made About It by surpassed the lifetime of Brigade Jones' Daddy to become working title's second biggest films ever and the second biggest rom-com of all time. The UK continues to lead play, now with the $54 million followed by Australia, $9.4 million, Netherlands, $5.6 million, Germany, $5.6 million, and Poland, $5.2 million. Japan and Korea are still on track in the April. A new opener. Universal began early rollout on Cinema's Soderbergh's Black Big with a $4.3 million from 37 markets. Globally, the start was $11.8 million, while the rest of international continues to release over the next 2 months. France $1.2 million, UK $1.1 million, and Australia 6 lakh where the biggest launches. Paramount's Navacan also began offshore rollout in 19 markets, 25% of the international footprint. The Jack White star injected $1.8 million Mexico was the lead play at the 607K million dollar and number 3 followed by Korea 154K number 7 and Indonesia 126K number 3. Combined with the domestic and the debut was $10.5 million. Misk updated Cume's notable in Peru $2.3 million Intel weekend, $142.6 million Intel Cume, $183.8 million global, Anora $2.2 million Intel weekend, 53 markets, $22 million Intel Cume, $32 million Incas market, Dogman, $1.4 million Intel weekend, 58 markets. Just a few years ago, the biggest star of the Chinese box office was the brave army commander. Last year, it was a woman who rediscovers herself through boxing. But in 2025, the hero that has caught everyone's attention and broken international box office record is an animated demon child, Nezha, a Chinese animation written and directed by Yang Yu, is a wild wonder film. The plot, inspired by Chinese mythology, follows the story of Nezha, a demon child raised by human. He is on a quest to obtain a precious elixir to restore the physical state of his friend, the dragon prince of being, whose body has been destroyed by a lightning strike. Epic battle scenes and spellbinding graphics and a dose of this symbolism have enticed Chinese audiences to the cinema in their millions since it released over the Lunar New Year holiday between the end of January and the middle of February. Nezha has taken $14.7 million, $1.6 million at the box office, making it the best performing film in Chinese cinema history. Nezha has also broken record globally. It is the highest grossing animated film worldwide, surpassing Pixar's Inside Out 2. Nezha marks a shift from the patriotic epic that have dominated Chinese cinema for the past few years. The battle at Lake Kangins, which Nezha pushed into second place in a 2021 Communist Party sponsored film that depicts Chinese soldier battling the American in the Korean War. Wolf Warrior 2, now third in the Chinese box office ranking, is a 2017 film about a Chinese soldier who protects air workers in Africa. That does not mean that Chinese audiences are turning away from patriotism, said an independent film critic in Beijing, who asked to remain anonymous, but it reflects the fact everybody can find something that resonates in Nezha, with the economy at difficult ebb and young people facing high unemployment rates. Dissatisfaction with Chinese society is higher than it was a few years ago. The storyline about battling injustice and powerful authorities may feel particularly apt. The film critic said in one scene, Nisa proclaimed, "My fate is controlled by myself, not by God." That really first fits into the current situation where a lot of people might be struggling. The film critic said, if a country is not doing well, people want to put more focus on themselves, but patriotic viewers may also find their feelings reflected in the film. Some commentators have suggested there is anti-American symbolism in the film, such as when the Nisa visits the jail place belonging to the evil Shan Gangbo. Nisa grabs at how wide the jail is. Nationalists have suggested it represent the White House. There is also a good dose of luck. The films had released over the Lunar New Year holiday, a time when many families make their only annual trip on the cinema. While the films has originally a word of mouth hit, local authorities and business owners jumped on the bandwagon to promote Chinese latest national hero, snowballing the film's success into a moment that nationalists have described as China our national destiny. The writer Afra Wang explained in a recent essay for Chinese Talk newsletter. Having weathered the pandemic disruption, many ordinary Chinese seek reassurance about the future through familiar culture framework. National Disney provides exact that is a narrative that current struggle within a larger, ultimately triumphant story. It's a therapeutic like an dirty Gion's darling, the AI company DeepSeek, Nizato, and everywhere in China, at a press conference about the economy on the sideline of China's two session. The annual political meetings that concluded on Tuesday. The Commerce Minister Wang Wenbin praised the film's success in attracting moviegoers to the cinema at a time when China is desperate to boost consumer spending. One company in Sanding province spent on 40,000 yuan buying tickets for 1,000 employees to go and see it. A bar is Beijing offers a Nisa reborn cocktail green raspberry, blueberry, roselle, and lemon 95. You said her local hairdresser was offering discount to the customer who came in whitest receipt from seeing Nisa Joe. When things go viral, every city government will try to claim their involvement or say they were part of the success story. The film's critics said, despite Nisa Joe's success in China, it's unclear if the films will perform as well overseas. The plot relies to a large degree on familiarity with Chinese mythology and with the original Nisa Joe film, which was released in 2019. The one market where it might have a better than average chance because of its charged Chinese cultural history is Taiwan, but the country limits the number of films from China that can be released each year. Nizajo is not on the list of 2025. The film will previews starting this weekend is set for full release in the UK on 21 March. But even if British audiences sever, many in China feel that their point has been made. China is reaching its national destiny without needing the West. Additional research by Jason Han. This is the achieve of the Observer until the 21 2025. The Observers is now owned and operated by the Torchlight Media. When we look at the numbers, they can be difficult to believe. Not only the first non-Hollywood film to gross over $1 billion US, but one that eventually went on to earn over $2.2 million and counting, with virtually all of that coming from its home country of China. That makes Ni Zha the highest grossing animated movie of all time, even when adjusted for inflation, and it comes in at the fifth highest grossing movie ever, just behind James Cameron's Titanic, with considerable runway to surpass it, given an English language dub and theatrical release slated for his Friday. But for those who grew up without the knowledge of the mythical demon while flying around on the flaming rings, some aspect of the Nizajo rise can be confusing. Namely, what is this whole story about? Why does it have everyone from TikTok to the New York Times to Donald Trump talking about China's dethroning of Hollywood? Why it is somehow important that one of the main villains is a single cat in this series? And why is the world's most famous face suddenly that has push no salmon baby? When it came to story, they actually the most confusing questions, at least for Westerns who grew up without the character as a culture touchstone, and even you could theoretically get. And even though you could theoretically get through the events of the sequel without having seen the first, this really is not the right from the attempt at cinematic feat. Without years of context gained from growing up with Nisa and his relevant culture backstory, watching the sequels without watching the original would be a bit like jumping into the Avengers Endgame without knowing why the big purple guy cared about those tiny rocks. Luckily, the first film is available to watch for free on YouTube. But for those determined to watch Nisa, too blind, or who are just scrambling for a resource before the thriller, and here is a primer. Largely adapted from the 16th century Chinese novel Investiture of Gods, the film tells the story of our titular hero, Nisa, initially stated to be the reincarnation of the heavenly spirit pearl. The cunning immortal Shan Gangbo instead made sure Nisa was crafted from the conversely dangerous demon orb, yin yang like parts of a recently destroyed classical being. Tragically for Nisa, the demon orb was fated to be destroyed by heavenly lightning 3 years after its creation, meaning he was marked for death on his third birthday at the same time. Chen Gangbo are bitter at apparently being passed over for promotion in a heavenly court partially due to the fact he secretly a shape-shifting tiger demon betrays his masters. He takes his spirit pearl to the Dragon King, cursed by him to guard an army of demons below the sea, infusing the Dragon King's son, Ao being with the spirit pearl. The two plan to use that power to free themselves. Instead, Nisa and Ao being from a fast friendship, eventually sacrificing themselves to save Nisa hometown. After the destruction of their physical forms, the second movie opened with the two forced to share Nisa body. Once again tasked with changing his destiny, Nisa opts to take a heavenly trial, which would grant him access to a magical portion they can use to refound a being's body. At the same time, competing scheme from Shan Gangbo, the Dragon King and the current heavenly boss all come together to complicate and then directly compare with Nisa's goal and ultimately what kind of person he sees himself as. It's a perfect recipe for a story about belonging and destiny, like everything from Hercules to Hellboy. Nisa follows a demigod, half human, searching for acceptance, and in so drastically transmuting the character's originally makeup in investitures of gods. Nisa is less a lovable rebel and instead he's become a beloved culture totem. From an animated TV show to live action films to its prime feature. In the recent video game blog Meet, Wukong Nisa is a massively popular figure in China, and he has held culture catched ever since the Meet arrival in China. Adapted from the story of a character in the body's text has spread through China during the Chinese Disneys as it separated blended various philosophies and folklore. The story of Nisa then came to the incorporate leaning from various elements of mythology, military history, Confucianism, Hinduism, and more. But perhaps most importantly to his finally finding success outside of his native China is the interpretations of good and evil, and fate and some determination his version of Nisa explore. And his heroism Nisa questions the unliteral interpretations of good and evil. The story's hero is a demon, while his main opponent is invested in heavenly energy. Much like in yin and yang, tourism teaches that good and evil are not opposed for competing forces. Instead, they are interconnected and complementary, each a necessary part making up a neutral whole. And any is surely our home, or what it is holy, righteous, or villainous is usually a fallacy. Maybe its biggest draw for modern audiences has been the Nizam, championing of rebellious spirit and finding revolt in a benevolence and sincerity, not in the circumstances of your birth. Those motion any Confucianist belief helped capture a general mood among audiences of all demographic, with some believing so fervently. Not watching is the unpatriotic that started a spiritual culture war in Chinese theater between Captain America Brave New World and Nizato. But Nizato and using the success lent a much needed injection cash China's film industry. When struggling with their slumming tickets, sales, and no Hollywood domination, Nizato seemingly had to prove China culture influence abroad, and as distributions company, A24 bears bigger by releasing a new English language dub in North America theater, is being viewed as a litmus test on whether the ever growing Chinese box office can not only stop depending on Hollywood's at home, but even begin to dominate at abroad. When it comes to why he Nizajo has picked up steam outside China, the answer is relatively simple. As an action-packed martial art, steer-jerking, Nizajo absolutely deserved the hype, building on the success of the impressive, if at times overly juvenile, first-name default joke are thankfully at least halved as them around. The follow-up is superior in nearly everywhere. The story is packed with a contrasting plot, points, and reveal that does not don't leave a second of empty space from its gorgeous animation. The water physics alone are something to do door over. To stunning fire, choreography, Nizato, whispers from crisis to crisis like a bear during flood season. And when the drum finally does break, do the fourth water overcome. Just try to keep from crying during the heart-piercing curse in the cauldron, I dare you. And an unruly Chinese boy who battles a dragon and defies Disney has made his way to Western China cinema again after smashing box office record in China. Nizajo, an animated blockbuster loosely based on the Chinese mythology, is now the world's highest grossing movie of all time in single market, taking up a staggering $1.4 billion in ticket sale in China since its January 29 release. That phenomenal success of Nizajo, a rare bright spot in China's otherwise sluggish box office amid a struggling economy, has sparked a wave of national pride and jubilation, with audiences stirred, media, and officials rushing to celebrate the landmark achievement. For decades, China movie market had been dominated by Hollywood blockbuster, but in recent years, homegrown titles, in genre from action and sci-fi to romance and animation, have increasingly outpaced Western film, a pivot fueled by rising cultural pride, more sophisticated storytelling, and rapid technological progress. And as censorship like tighten and geopolitical tension with the untitled status player, it's become all too more difficult for Hollywood to navigate political landmine in the once lucrative market. China's domestic film industry has pounced on the opportunity animation rooted in the traditional Chinese folklore enhanced with the state-of-the-art special effect has proven to be a winning formula for a new generation of Chinese filmmakers and audiences. The reasoning is clear. If China's own talent can deliver high-quality adaptations of the legends they grew up with, why rely on Western studio to tell Chinese story? Following its record-breaking run in China, Nizajo has headed overseas with wide releases in Australia and New Zealand on Thursday and North America on Friday. It became an instant hit among the Chinese diaspora. Many rushed to snap up passage tickets days in advance and lined up for its premiere. Even those who were not previously interested in anime, like me, are drawn to this movie because of the enthusiasm and the glowing word of the mouth in China. said Summer Wang, a data analyst with Eternity Films premiere in Los Angeles. Stephanie Zhang, 30, a jewelry sales manager in Sydney, spent an hour getting to a cinema in several thunderstorms to watch Nezha. The audience is mostly of Chinese descent, erupted in the applause at the end of screening, she said. It had a complete story arc. The sequel to a 2019 box office champion, all the stars aligned for Nisacho to become a smash hit. The film faced few serious competitors upon its release at the start of Lunar New Year's holiday, a peak cinema-going time for the whole family in China, drawing on a 16th century novel. The film features characters familiar to Chinese audiences of all ages, but it also offers fresh takes that resonate with the young generation, said Zhang Lu, expert on Chinese cinema at Source University of London. It is a very successful commercial film. On one hand, it's got advanced animation technology, and on the other, it excels in storytelling. It's family friendly, fun to watch with a touch of the rebellious spirit. And you said, in fact, it's a mixture of different formula that came together and worked. Born with a demonic fate and extraordinary power, the protagonist Niza is ugly, cute, and mischievous, unafraid to challenge the heavenly authority and confront the gods who have manipulated power to suit their own end. The messages it conveys resonate with their different audiences and reflect many of the challenges of our time, such as challenging the established structure, institutions, and authority, theme of family love and friendship, distrust of the system and the authority, and identity confusion, said Sabrina Yu, family Chinese studio professor at Newcastle University. It's like chicken soup of the soul or shot of excitement in the gloomy atmosphere of the era. The film also invites open interpretation, with some nationalist viewers excited to spot Easter egg. They interrupt as political metaphor, mocking America, such as object resembling US dollar sign, the Great Seal of the United States, the Pentagon, and the coronavirus. You, who watched the movie in China, said he heard many audiences members discussing this nationalist element. While I did not feel this strongly when watching the film, I do think it might have contributed to its box office success, she said. Many recent Chinese blockbusters have capitalized on rising nationalist sentiment. Lake Changjin, our 2021 government commissioned war flick, was previously China, our top grossing title, after taking the top spot from 2017 patriotic action movie Wolf Warrior 2. As its better box office record, Ni Zhaozhou quickly emerged as a triumph of China animations and film industries. The movie was made entirely in China, involving 138 animations company and more than 4,000 crew according to its end credits. Its actor Yang Yu, a medical major turned animation filmmaker, told state broadcasters CCTV that he initially approached international production team for some key scene, but his results fell short of expectations. Sure, there might be a top tier studio, but it could be using Sure, there might be a top tier studio, but it could be using third rate staff on our project. So, after outsourcing, many of the shots did not turn as wanted, and we ended up bringing them back. He said Yang considered that Chinese studios are still playing catch up with top foreign counterparts in technologies and industrial processes. Gap is closing. The China animation industry has come a long way in a market where generation of audiences grew up watching movies from Hollywood, Disney, and Pixar. Japanese domestic animation have broken an in recent year, especially those championing traditional culture. It's a similar story in other entertainment sector. Last year, Black Myth, Wukong, a Chinese video game based on the classical 16th century novel, Journey to the West and featuring cutting-edge graphic, became an international bestseller as Nizatu box office receipts surpassed Hollywood classic. One of the other Chinese movies They like to support their films and push the ticket sales to new height. On Chinese social media, users called on each other to hit the cinema and even visited multiple times. Our trending hashtag on microblogging site Weibo compared to the film our rise to global box office rank to raising the national flag. On Thursday night, the film hit a landmark $100 million, $13.7 billion in ticket sale, overtaking the Super Mario Bros. Movie to become the third highest grossing animated film ever, just behind Frozen 2. State media and Chinese officials have built praise on Nezha, hailing it as a prime example of China growing cultural confidence. China ambassador to Washington, Xi Feng, promoted the movie in a multiple posts on X and in speeches. Gyo Jigun, a spokesperson for the foreign ministry, called the film a new bridge of cultural exchanges between China and the world and a new window on China for the world. However, Nisacho faces a major challenge in a gaining strong toehold in overseas market, where it will compete with the newly released Captain America, Brave New World, and beyond the Chinese diaspora. It may struggle to connect with a broader international audiences, viewer, and experts say. I do not see it having the same potential to transcend cultural boundaries and achieve crouching tiger hidden dragon did at the state artist country statue from Newcastle University. A notably quick session for US studio title Old and New Chinese animation Ni Zajo returned to the top of the global box office in its seventh weekend of play. Estimated weekend taking off $26 million from 8 market where enough to snatch the top spot from the previous session star chap Mikey 17, which falls to second place. Chinese data gather at recent Gateway report $20 million in China for Nisaju at the weekend. Comscore report on estimated 366,000 for animation in North America. In total, the film has new reached $2.6 million in international market including the China and 20.2 M in North America. Global total is $2.08 billion and his Nisato has now overtaken Star Wars. The Force Awakens to become the fifth biggest film of all time at the worldwide box office, behind the two Avatar films, Avengers Endgame and Titanic. On IMAX, Nisato has reached $155 million worldwide, making it the sixth highest grossing film ever for IMAX. This is already the second time in 2025 that a film has topped ComScore worldwide weekend chart with a box office sum below $30 million. In the last weekend of January, Mufasa, The Lion King did so in 6 weeks of release with a $24.1 million total and long scared flight risk was the highest new entry on that occasion. Update Universal's focus feature Black Mask has begun with a confirmed $7.6 million in North America, landing in third place behind Novacan and Mikey 17, plus $4.4 million from its first wave of 37 international market. Those numbers combined to deliver a worldwide opening of $11.9 million. The Steven Soderbergh's David Koepp spy thriller saw its biggest international number in the UK, Ireland, with 1.18 a few thousands dollars. Arcade of France only $1.17 million, Australia $357 and Mexico $343,000 Comtech next. Major European markets Germany, Italy and Spain have yet to open the film, and due to South Korea and Japan. South Korea comes next overwhelming Black Bag this Wednesday, March 19. Black Bag, which stars Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett as married intelligence agents, has a production budget reported at $50 million, factoring any market cost and revenue share with cinema. The film's break-even point looks a long way off. Paramount Novican proved a little stronger than Black Bag in North America, nabbing the top spot estimated $8.7 million and adding $1.8 million and at initial 19 international market. Global opening is $10.5 million. Paramount estimates that Navakin has so far opened in just 25% of its international footprint, with all the key European territories yet to come. The weekend knew the best international result in Mexico, an estimated $607 million, followed by the South Korea, $154,000 million. Navacoin is directed by Dan Black, and Robert Olson is a first big studio theatrical movie. Following indie films such as SKS with 19 premiere, Villain and 2022 Paramount Plus, original movie Significant Other. From an original screenplay by Lars Jabsgård, Navakin stars Jack White as a mild-mannered assistant bank manager with a congenital insensitivity to pain, a condition that comes in handy when he brings the fire to a trio of violent criminals who rob the bank and take a staff member, Amber, mid-20s hostage. Update: Warner Bros. Mickey 17 fell a hefty 16% in North America at the weekend, with confirmed taking of $7.5 million for the second session, losing the top spot to Novican in the film's international holdover market. Bong Jones' co-star comedy Sci-Fi performed better with a 37% drop. Mikey 17 grossed confirmed $15.5 million in 69 international market at the weekend and $23.0 million worldwide. Total to date are $33.3 million in North America, $57.2 million for international, and $19.5 million worldwide. Among international markets, among home nations of South Korea is by far the strongest with $17.9 million after 3 weekends of play. UK, Ireland, weekend leads the casting pack, ahead of France, Germany. Mikey 17 is now 34% of the news west towards, matching the lifetime total of Bong's biggest worldwide box office hit. Typically, a film's grossing just $3.4 million. Over a weekend would not earn a place in the ComScore worldwide top 10 chart published each week in the Screen International, but animation. The day the art blew up, a Looney Tunes movie has done precisely that every week March 14 to 16 session, released by Catch Up Entertainment in North America. The film grossed an estimated $3.2 million in their debut weekend, landing in 15th place at the domestic box office. The Looney Tunes Adventure, which is produced by Warner Bros. Animation, added an estimated $192 million for 8 international market. Global total is $5.7 million. Directed by Patty Braungart, the day the art blew up, a Looney Tunes movie premiered at NNC last June. The film enjoyed a limited release in North America last December to qualify for the Academy Award but failed to secure nomination. Braungart previously directed episodes of HBO Max series Looney Tunes cartoon and has writing and executive producing credit on the series and the film. This is already second time in 2025 that a film has topped ComScore worldwide weekend chart with a box office sum below $30 million in the last weekend of January. Mufasa, The Lion King did so in the 6th week of release with a $24.1 million total, and the Lionsgate fight this was the highest new entry on that occasion. Update: Universal's focus featuring Black has begun with a confirmed $7.6 million in North America, landing in third place behind Nova Kenny and Mikey 17, plus $4.4 million from its fair share of 37 international market. Major European markets Germany, Italy, and Spain have yet to open the films, and theaters South Korea and Japan. South Korea comes next, welcoming Black back this Wednesday, March 19. Black, which has Michael Fassbender and Cat Blanchett as married intelligence agents, has a production budget reported at $15 million, factoring in market cost and revenue share with the cinema. The film's break-over fund books are a long way up. Paramount's Novicans proved a little stronger than Black back in North America, nailing the top spot with an estimated $8.7 million and adding the $1.8 million at an initial 19 international market, global opening in the $10.5 million. Paramount estimated that Novican has to for open in just 25% of its international footprint with all the key European territories yet to come. Novikan is directed by Dan Park and Robert Olson in their first big studio theatrical movie, following indie films such as Premier's Villain and 2022 Paramount Plus original movie Significant Other from an original screenplay by Lars Jaspern. Like its mysterious demigod protagonist, the Chinese animated fantasy film Nezha has been a practically unstoppable force since its initial release in China. Our Lunar New Year, the blockbuster has earned more than $2 billion worldwide. It's new the highest grossing film of 2025, the highest grossing animated film of all time, and the highest grossing non English language film in history. The film has also been a magnet for conspirational chatter, with viewers and critics alike theorizing about the reasons for its box office success. The film's favorite run has been referred to by some English language outlets as evidence of national pride in China. When it in turn captains America, Brave New World in February, the Reuters cited the Nizato victory as proof of the China's hostility toward rival Hollywood offering. Yet, as Les Johnny Sanks noted, Chinese audiences, who are responsible for most of the film's ticket sales for so far, have not been uniformly supportive of the movie, leaving verdicts ranging from negative to lukewarm to positive. Some viewers, she observed, believe that the film's imagery indeed contained hints of anti-American sentiment. Others interrupt its hero's quest for individuality as subtle but sharp criticism of the Chinese Communist Party. When an English language version of Nizato was announced for an August debut in the United States via a rare partnership between the Chinese company CMC Pictures and the indie distributor R24. The Hollywood Reporter predicted that the film's theatrical release would be a limited set of US market appetite of Chinese storytelling. As it turns out, the result of that test were less than spectacular. Nisa 2 is re-released with a voice cast led by the Michael Yeoh, flopped at the US box office last weekend, making just $1.5 million, but as Deadline pointed out, an English subtitle version of the films had just been released stateside less than 6 months ago. Not long after the Chinese debut, that release earned more than $20 million, which means that a not insignificant number of Americans were willing to show up for the film in its original Chinese language form. Even if a wider US audiences appear to be unfamiliar with or uninterested in the franchise, Niza to bona fides are incredible. The film is an epic sequel to a massively popular movie. The first Niza, released in 2019, is currently the second highest grossing non-US animated film in history. The follow-up doubled down on its predecessor Maximalism, producing a chaotic, hour-satisfied action-adventure movie with eye-popping visuals that demand to be seen in theater. As such, Nizato leaves some mystery about why it has become the year's biggest global box office triumph, regardless of whether US theatergoers turned out for the English dub. The film's victory has been big because the film itself is big, bulky in tone and spectral. Nizato may be closely based on the 16th century novel drawn from Chinese mythology, but it's an amalgamation of the recognizable style and storytelling technique designed to appeal to as many viewers as possible. Consider Niza himself is a popular character from Chinese folklore. To adapt on screen, a constant presence in movie and shows produced in his country over the blast country. His ubiquity in part due to his visual appeal. He can conjure will of fire and his feet to zip around in the air, which is undeniable cool, and because his stories are specially male-able in the tone. Although he is usually portrayed as a rebel, learning to disciple himself and obey filial value. The most well-known animated variation of him, Barrier, to the 2019 film, depicts him very differently. In 1979, Niza conquered the Dragon King. He is a tragic embodiment of self-sacrifice. In the 2023 TV series, The Legend of Niza, he is a courier more family-friendly protagonist, Nizajo, understands the character's versatility and uses his story to explore Arjun versus him, coming of age growing pain. Sure, he describes Chinese poetry when announcing himself to enemies and navigate a world smashed in the Buddhist and Taoist symbolism. But he mostly just wreak youthful havoc. The Nisa movie alters some of the character's classic trait, despite how much he enjoys causing chaos. Nisa is to fit in, a conflict exemplified by his central relationship with our being, a dutiful and a compassionate dragon prince. The two seem to be polar opposites in his personality and worldview, but become best friends whose dynamic can be as silly as it's affecting. In Nizato, the two have to share the same body, leading to crude gag. Niza can allow our being to take over his body only after investigating sleeping pill, which is he sometimes vomit up, as well as a heartfelt discussion about the burden of making their communities proud, take very magical, beyond fractional setup, and what's left in the timeless story. The animation to capture his scene of familiarity. Chinese produced animated entertainment called has long struggled to establish an identity. The 1979 Nezha films, for instance, were released shortly after the end of the cultural revolution during which the genre had been limited by rigid guidelines intended to establish a national style. The resulting movie relied on traditional illustration practiced in the form of the linguist words, layered brushwork, and rich color. Over the years, dragons became shaped, if not overshadowed, by the look of the anime and Hollywood animation. The Nisa in the 2023 series resembles a Disney character, defined by a thick outline and fluid movement. But Nisa and his sequel guardedly blend Chinese aesthetic with other influences. Painterly backward are mixed with a computer-generated pixel-like character design. The emphasis on toilet humor calls to mind broadly DreamWorks movies such as Shrek 1 Valiant expectly reference Snow White. The extravagant approaches mirror the hero's untamed energy, all to yield a genuinely spectacular film. Nizato is vibrant and colorful in every frame, whether rendering fantastical location, floating cities or underwater empire, mythical creatures, jet birds, intelligent murmurs or battle sequences the third act which capture essentially one long sojourn amongst cities of all kinds is awash with kinetic action. Intricately designed dragon weave in and cut off combat, while armies of evil henchmen arrange themselves in a gorgeous pattern. At one point, they come to look like a giant frieze forestone with golden blossom. There is in other words almost too much to look at in Nizato, but that appeared to be the point that film's director, Yu Yang known as Yoshiri, created more than 4,000 animators for the project and incorporated the effort of more than 100 animation studios across cinema. In an interview, he explained that he approached the view as if it were its last, and indeed, Nisa, it feels like a film to end all animated film. It overwhelms the sense remix style and turns a complicated folklore figure into a lovable superhero. The film's English dub may not have been a hit, but even without that achievement, Nizatu has already won. An unusually pre-adolescent demon spawned from the show's pearl and his newfound friend fight a wingful dragon from four seas and his despotic immortal ruler in Nizatu. Writer and director Joseph animated Chinese blockbuster simultaneously fresh and enlightening for non-Chinese but familiar in both negative and positive ways. Nizatu is a distinct fantasy epic and a technical achievement that stands up to the best that Disney's DreamWorks, Arjuman or Studios Ghibli can offer, even if it is frequently given into the same proclivities of excess as it appear. This plot is sequel to the Jose's otherwise known as Yang Yu. 2019 surprise hit Nezha is now the highest grossing animated film of all time, earning US $2 billion in ticket sales since its Lunar New Year's release in the late January, and putting the new two terms featured director in Elite Company alongside James Cameron, Dadasis and J. Abram, based on Sue 16th century epic investiture of the gods on which the other big holiday release, Creation of the Gods, Demon Forces was also based. The story is as familiar to Chinese audiences as the legend of King Arthur is to those in the West, and its humor at times on the toilet side and the resonant core values made the films an easy sell. Nezha opened in the US in February and has now secure distribution in the UK, Ireland, and across Europe. But beyond China is unlikely to pose a threat to the beginning or non-English language box office champion. Angry's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragons currently, as it rolls out into more territories, it could easily catch Emily and Pence thanks to its wholesome family messaging delivered in a relatively original package streamer looking to take advantage of repeat viewer could be a secondary platform, but Nisa too was made for the big screen. There is a great deal of narrative in the Nisa too, sometimes too much. Anyone who missed the first films should still be able to follow the action, which begins immediately after the film's final battle between two brothers born of the heavenly Joe's Pearl. One is the Spirit Pearl, or Awe, being voiced by the Han, who was adopted by the Dragon King, Awe Gang Linan. The other is the Dragon Orb, Yanting in our nimble performances. Adopted with Lin Jing and Lady Jin, guardians of Chanting Pass. Unlike the more passive Aobi, Niza is loud, vulgar, and often out of control, and he struggled to control his otherworldly power was the main thrust of the first film. When his immortal instructor, Zanron, is unable to reconstitute a corporal vessel for Aobing, they share Nizia and head out to find the elixir that will save him. Doctors take them to Yuzo, place where they must complete their trial for Master Wailing Wang Doshan. That is just the setup in an often unwieldy narrative that managed to incorporate angry dragon, magic water fountain, long lost sibling, warrior rodents, warrior sea creature, and several conspiratorial, not always effectively. The film is bogged down by frantic editing and engaging motion for the sake of motion. The kind of overly kinetic visualizing common in Kung Fu Panda or Acteno, like so many sequel Nizajo, repeat what worked the first time around and simply does it louder and for longer. As creative as the script is what is theme, the second act sags under the weight of repetition. A martial arts fight with the rendered warrior need not have four endings, and ironically, underwriting for all the lead up to the Nisa and all being's trial, there are no explanations that are protected final hour stuff. The screen with the anonymous copy paste character and a request post credit sequence is a complete scene, not a 30-second stinger. To its credit, these are two themes with their imagination. The underwater world is a particularly vivid and stays faithful to its fantastical and very Chinese source material. Script is a trend assured in identity, but in universals in its is a concept, the bonds of family, parental sacrifices, and unconditional love, boy films overall. It also delicately treads the theme of duality as personified in Obing and Isa, of nature versus nature, destiny versus choice, and the timely and quality notion of rebellion versus. The dense story is wrapped in the impeccable artwork that was of vibrancy surpassing. Nisa's character is artistic and it demonstrates China's increasing confidence in its homegrown artists and the techniques. In a year that proven a bit soft at the box office, the biggest story and just pain against films period is the monster's power of Nisa 2, a Chinese CGI animated feature that, during its theatrical release in January, brutally annihilated the likes of the Fantastic Four, Superman, and even a Minecraft movie to become the highest global earning film this year. The competition is not tight either with the 2.2 billion gross so far It has an absurd $1.2 billion lead over Lilo and Stitch and is the fifth highest earning movie ever, no qualification needed. Nezha 2 is not the first Chinese film to challenge big Hollywood productions in terms of success, with the country having established itself as a highly important market for global production. But the sheer impact still heavily outpaces any other Chinese films ever made. By comparison, the second highest grossing Chinese film of all time is 2021, the battle at Lake Changjin, which only grossed a lovely $9.13 million, even more impressively, Nizato managed to make all the money with barely any help from North American market. The movie received a limited 8-week US release by CMC Picture in February, where per box office mojo, it managed around $20 million. US audience is still largely ignorant what exactly the Nezha is. An indie distributor acquired the right to the film and gave it a glossy English dub for a second introduction to the market, complete with an IMAX rollout to better appreciate the film's stunningly detailed backdrop and fight scene. What unsuspecting viewer will find at the theater is a film that's not really anything like the animated film Hollywood produces glossy and operatic in its scale. Niza 2 has a 150-minute running time that's longer than expected for the average kid's attention span or the average attention span of a TikTok rooted adult brain. To be frank, but in emotional viewpoint and streak to gleeful poetry humor. Nisatu is also quite bluntly a movie for children, the closest comparison to making it Pixar's Elio or Disney's Zootopia, but a world of battle shonen's anime like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto long shows characterized by expectable teen boys engaging in non-stop, over-the-top brawl with their own specialized power sets. Like many products of this genre, Nizato can occasionally near only numbling its barrage of set pieces, blending it together into an amorphous blob. But at the same time, you can't help but admire the sheer scale of the canvas director, Yang Yu, credit as uses to point, and the often jaw-dropping artistry and detail of the animation speak for itself. As its title makes clear, Nizato is a sequel, and anyone who has taken the time on the original 2019 Niza is going to inevitably be enough but confused by this one. We start with a very brief recap of the first movie, but nonetheless plunges the audiences directly into this fantasy version of China with little context or effort to handle. For American audiences, this will inevitably jar. Given how much the characters and story takes inspiration from the 16th century novel Investiture of the Gods and various mythological and folk figures from Chinese history. After an opening that starts immediately after the first film, introducing the titular Nisa and his best friend Ao Bing as parents whose bodies need to be rebirthed, followed by a massive war sequences between the characters just introduced, you would not be forgiven for getting a headache trying to keep up. Once the movie is shown down, the uniformed are unable to see is more readily into the plot of the film. The first movie covered the story of how Nisa, a full-mounted, reconciled, rebellious youth who was burned to demon hunter as he feared reincarnation of a demon orb befriended the Syrian probably manner to begin. Nizajo masters Tai Zanan recreates their bodies only for Aubing to lose his body in the attack from the dragons led by the main villain. The siblings but sympathetic Shan Kangbo, who mistakenly attacked their hometown under the belief he is dead, with all being spared now in Zhang Badi. The two managed to toss away the dragons to venture to hand out the heavenly Jan sect and complete the task that will grant them immortality will restore all being spotted. That journey to an ultra divine world is long, and the plot synopsis in a review can't really capture all of the characters and moving parts to this tale. There is just too much of it. At 2 hours and 24 minutes, Movies sag in pacing with a protracted first act to get the real meat of things that could use a serious edit. Jokes that linger a second too long, and fight scenes that drag to the point that you sometimes lose the emotional stake of the story. The sheer amount of toilet humor, there is a lot of music and short and jokes about people drinking pieces stuffed into the film, often proves more annoying than fun. Luckily, things click into the place when Nisa began his trial, and the tensions between using our being's greater power to win and the remaining true to his own misfit self began to wear at him. It's also the point in which he often bravely putting character clicks into place, and his simple desire to be accepted and prove he is what emerges as the real emotional heart of the story. The other characters emerge as complex figures rather than stock archetype, as the chain sect holds obvious sacred and biases toward demons, while Shen Gang boasts hidden from sight comes to light. Most importantly, the trials gives Denise Arjo a framework to showcase some of the most impressive and vibrant 3D animation that has been seen on the film is quite some time. The product of the roughly 138 Chinese companies and around 4,000 individuals animator Nezha look vibrant and alive in every frame, striking an unusual balance between the anime-inspired exaggerations and realism that works shockingly well in practice. The environments are from the white shade walls of the Chan sect place to this distinct tone of the trekking bandit. Molded Niza began his trial to rushing waterfall. Their fights are shape-shifting water demon are astonishingly ornate and detailed, while the characters that inhabit them are creatively imagined and varied from cartoonish old fat man to the dragon, with scale with the shining like they are truly alive. Then there is the actions which smells influences from anime, Vosia and good old-fashioned Leonie John. Part first to create some jaw-dropping set pieces that zig and zag in your direction. You never know how a brawl I will resolve or what a character will do next, and that unpredictability allow for real exhilarious the climax and operatic conflict that manage to successfully merge emotion with spectacle in a way the rest of the film sometimes struggle with is a particular feat. In one stunning shot, two hordes of various rival sides of a conflict are seen from afar, like two waves crashing into each other, and yet the detailed attention and artistry of every pixel in frame is evidently displayed in many respects. Watching Nisa, too, feels akin to viewing the Avatar films, as the films providing a visual experience that's the absolute peak of what this medium is capable of. It also benefits from a solid dubbing effort that gratifying features a mostly Asian cast and absence of stunning A-list cats. The sole exception is a Microzio, who's appropriately warm and heartbreaking as the title character's mother Letizian. The rest of the cast is mostly unknown or professional voice actor, including the Crystal Lee and Alex Lee, winning double act as Nisa and Aobing. Occasionally, the dialogue does not quite match up with the character's mouth flap, but is a minor distraction in a mostly shameless experience. All dubbing inevitably invites a debate over whether or not it's necessary or if English speaker should learn to appreciate subtitle, but Nizatu has a good case for why it's necessary. Want to say up to date on the antivirus, a film review and critical thoughts? Subscribe here to our new launched newsletter in review by David Fraser, in which our chief film critics good things come to those who weird, rooted heavily in Chinese folklore. The whiz-bang action-packed Nizatu welcomes newcomers into a dense and often geometric initial hour, which can be a into a dense and often initial hour, which can be a chore to sit through. But then practically on dime, it switches gear for each final 80 something minutes, swapping its toilet humor for mythological spectre on a brain breakingly enormous scale. The nearly 2.5 hour runtime might be intimidating for a kids' film, but this transformation is what your patience seek it out, and Nizajo will show you things you will probably never seen before or even imagined possible. The 2019 original Nisa is there is no polite ways to say this, a for comedy for babies with some supernatural battle on the side, and Nisa 2 start out the same way. At first, it's Wave 3D. Animation is geared toward endless gigs about belly flap and bodily fluid in the scene that last hour. Good things come to those who wait. Rooted heavily in Chinese folklore, the whiz-bang action-packed in Nizato welcomes newcomer into a dense and often juvenile initial hour, which can be a core to sit through. It switches gear for its final 18-something minutes, swapping its toilet humor for a technological spectre on a brain-breakingly enormous scale. The nearly 2.5 hour runtime might be intimidating for a kid's film, but his transformation is what your patience stake it out and Nizato will show you things you have probably never seen before or even imagined possible. The 2019 original Nisa is there is no polite way to say this, a for comedy for babies with some supernatural battles on the side, and Nisa 2 starts out the same way. At first, at vivid 3D animation is geared toward at first, its vivid 3D animation is geared toward endless gigs about belly, flap, and bodily fluid in scene that last painfully long term and are bookend confusingly non-script patient shots. Ironically, this relatively relaxed pace is a service of a million mile an hour plot. Nowadays, Keval nor Belit Masters Tile Zenon tries to reforge new avatar for them using a magical lotus, one of several bites of Chinese meat explained faster than any outsider can comprehend, thanks to Ari. Alluding to the amusing comedic predicament of Nizao having to share his temporary form with our being's wandering spirit. This introduction also teases us by five character he designed for Nisa down to the line. Before long, the last movie's scheming villain, the lanky, stunning Sion's Gingbo, attacks Chen Tang Pass once more, showing as breathlessly back into a familiar plot. Only this time, Gangbo has an enslaved army of godlike dragon kings in tow, whose imaginative powers include a magical claw that can pierce through space itself and create portal to eye-popping fairy locations and put countless instant at risky a visually spectacular Vickers dome. Precise white castles in the clouds play host to both represent jet birds soaring through the air and eye-rolling slapstick gigs. These tonal paradoxes casually mount alongside a story that becomes purely expositional, given the English dialogues clunky and all too literal translations. It feels at times like reading an translated wiki on Institute of Gods, the 16th century novel on which Nisa too is loosely based, while also having to do invasive pop-ups joking about Parv and P. But as Nisa's journey continues, and as he and No Being struggle to share one body, hidden complexity comes to light. The anglitic immortal who speak of maintaining the order of various castes and sects and Nisa to fight dramatic entities whose only crimes appear to be causing a nonsense not unlike as the himself. In fact, these demos usually take the form of adorable cinemas signal to even the youngest viewer in the audiences. And then as which where suddenly flipper the second of Nisa, trials become both physically and emotionally supercharged, and it feels as though an entirely different team of storyteller and taken as in. The action a mix of 70s style works here and supernatural spell casting it colorful and electric. At times literally the character, once broad archetypes aimed in explaining the plot, began to suffer unimaginable anguish as Nisa to cute to see. Fake becomes generally nightmarish, evoking real-life mascot and even the hero, a first-century Pampy, typical kids movie stuff. This high-spinning shift in tone is accompanied by filtering character transformations as a once Chinese animations like Nisa is forward to the content. The Chinese fantasy film has amazed our US a $1.9 million in box office, taking so far, and by some estimate could eventually rake in such as much 2019. The deity Nisa has long been part of the Chinese popular consciousness, but it was the release of the animated film Nezha 2019 and its sequel Nezha 2025 that brought the mythological character's national and global profile to dizzying new height. Since it premiered in China on 29 January, Nezha 2 has broken multiple film records, attracting the world media attention in a way that very few other Chinese films have managed to achieve. In a little over 8 days, the fantasy adventure flick managed to become the first film in history to break US $1 billion in a single market. It followed this up in 19 February by eclipsing by the US $1.68 billion forecast by Inside It 2, making the title of the highest grossing animated film of all time. As of writing, Nizatu was ranked as the 80th highest grossing movie in history, with worldwide box office taking off more than US $1.9 million, putting it above The Lion King and Jurassic World, which earned US $1.69 million and US $1.67 billion respectively. The film shows no sign of slowing down anytime soon, with ticketing pull from May on, forecasting a total gross of around US $2.08 billion. In the sequel, the story picks up immediately after the events of the first installment, which left the souls of Demon Boy, Ni Za and his friends, the Dragon Prince Ao Bang, without physical bodies. The two characters manage to attain new ones with the help of their Niza mentor. Tai Zan but Ao Bing loses his body not long afterwards, following a short-lived battle between his father, the Dragon King Ao Gang, and the inhabitant of Nizatu hometown, eager to help his friend and to prevent the town from being destroyed by Ao Niza and the spirit of Ao Bing, who are now forced to share one body, undergo a 3-round exam from the immortal willing Xiangbing in order to attain to potion that will restore to Ao Bing's physical form. Convoluted is one the discovery plot of Nizatu, although his must be understood in the context of its source material, which means the turbulent transition from the Shang density to the Zhou density through a rich tapestry of character from Chinese folklore and history, who each have their own unique backstory. Despite the dense nature of the original novel, Yang Qianyan, a doctoral films researcher at the University of Adelaide, believed that the movie, which revives an entirely new storyline of Nisa, can still be enjoyed by those who are not knowledgeable about Institute for the God. It injects fresh energy, modern themes, and new perspective into traditional mythology, which help bridge the gap between the generation or sometimes nations to point out. The Academy concedes that the animated feature may not be for everyone due to its potty jokes and intense action sequences. Although she personally enjoyed the film, as it didn't interest Denisa, a beloved character that Chinese people grew up with in such bold and visually stunning way. Indeed, the character of Nisa has evolved radically over the ages from his origin as a Hindu mythological figure to a tragic child hero in Chinese folklore who has a complex relationship with his father in the current franchise. Regarding the film's phenomenal success in China, Hong pointed to several factors and aptly quotes a Chinese saying, which like in counterpart in other language means it had the right timing, the right place, and the right audiences. The scholar explained that the decision to release Ni Sajo during the Lunar New Year worked in favor, as the holiday period allowed families to hit the theater, coupled with a strong word of mouth, state media coverage, and a solid entertaining story that went up its predecessor in terms of visual spectacle. The film's popularity began to snowball. While the Ni Sajo has largely drawn almost entirely of its box office earning from mainly Chinese audiences, the movie has also managed to gain traction overseas with its global receipt already crossing the US 13 million mark. Following its debut in countries such as Australia and the US earlier this month, on whether or non-Chinese audiences will be able to appreciate Nizajo, Hong says that it will come down to their opponents to different storytelling style and their familiarity with Chinese culture. As the film is underpinned by Chinese mythology and philosophical concepts such as Taoism, Confucianism, and Buddhism that set it apart. The film expert, however, remains confident that the animated features strong visual and universal themes of the rebellion, identity, and destiny, giving the potential to connect with the global audiences over time. For director Yang Yu, who is better known by his professional name Josie, the historical success of Nezha, and a sequel far cry for his early days as struggling animator. Born in second province there 45 years old, was originally set to follow in the footsteps of his doctor parents. Studying medicine at his Pang University owned West China School of Pharmacy. Yang, however, found his true calling in animation, a field that he had been interested in since childhood. Upon graduation, Yang went to work for an advertising agency and spent his free time self-studying animation. Unable to contain his passion, the aspiring talent resigned from this job with the support of his parents and devoted his energies to breaking into the industry. This period would prove to be a trying time for Yang as his father passed away, and he and his mother were forced to get by on her measly monthly income of 1,000 yen for the next year. The year 2009 was a breakthrough for the animator, as he released the 2, a 16 minutes anti-war film with no dialogue, which garnered over 10 million online views, as well as many awards. The attention that his animated short attracted helped Young earn recognition, paving the way for his selection as the director of the Nisa franchise. While Yang is an integral part of Nisa, on the surface, the Nisa Zato, the series for 2025, the sequel to the 2019 Chinese blockbuster Birth of the Diamond Child, is a high-octane, action-packed, and visually stunning animated spectacle, full of hilarious moments and thrilling fight scenes. But beneath all that is something much deeper, a bold reimagining for Chinese traditional mythology, culture, history, and philosophies. Unlike Hollywood's classic hero journey, on the surface, Nizajo the Seas Fury 2025, the sequel to the 19 Chinese blockbuster Niza, but of the Diamond Star is a high-octane, action-packed and visually stunning animated spectacle, full of hilarious moments and thrilling fight scenes. But beneath all that is something much deeper, a bold reimagining of Chinese traditional mythology, culture, history, and philosophies. Unlike Hollywood's classic hero journey, Dini's Arto is rooted in Chinese thought, weaving together ideas from Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, Mohism, legalism, and more. Through the story of a baby-faced warrior god who battled demons, it channeled centuries of Chinese tradition into a something refreshing, relevant, and undeniable global. The film's success speaks of itself. Directed by Yang Yu, Ni Sacho has created multiple global box office records, pulling in more than US $1 billion in China in just 1 week. It has entered the top 10 highest grossing film of all time and has become the highest grossing animated film, outperforming Inside Out to October 2, 2024. But what makes Nizato so compelling beyond its visual spectacle, at its heart, is an inspiring story about identity, free will, self-determination, and rebellion, ideas that is storied far beyond China. Nisa is a rebellious deity in traditional Chinese folklore, a boy one with the immense superpower who defies both divine and social expectations. Most people who know of Nisa will trace his legend back to Fengism Yang or Investiture of the Gods, arming density novel that blends mythology with historical elements. Nisa true origins however trace back of India. Nisa is a shorthand translation of the Sanskrit or an Indian mythological figure who appear as Buddhism spread to China during the Tang dynasty. Nisa evolved from an intimidating guardian deity into the rebellious. In Nisa too, this fighting spirit against authority and heresy is taken even further, turning the story into a deeper philosophical exploration of morality, fate, self-worth, and power. Nezha, original title Nezha Mutong 2025, managed to be a grand without losing it hard. It's an untragically plotted film, which has become increasingly rare for mainstream blockbusters in recent years. The film introduces Chinese mythological character through a thematically complex narrative, which analyzes everything from loss, grief, and existential dread without losing its broad humor and visual riches. It's vivid and colorful, and tonally varied in ways that live-action movies aspire to be. Yet it leaves you with plenty to mull over about exploration of visual and evil. There are well-designed action set pieces that will make you catch your breath. But there is also a resonating story about a young character trying to prove his worth. The earlier films followed Nisa as he learned the truth about his identity and destiny, only to be inspired to rewrite it. He realized the value of goodness from his kind hearted parents and an unlikely friendship with Dragon Prince Ao Bing. It followed both him and Ao Bing battle the preconceived notions against their respective identities, leading to a trust. The recent sequel further addressed the value that connected them, despite their inherent distinction, to reach the familiar moral lesson. It showed them being swept into a whirlwind where they experienced loss and betrayal while trying to balance their duties to those they all bear. Nisa 2, directed by Yu Yang, shows Nisa and Ao Bing hoping to start new lives as foes turned friends. Little do they know the trouble it would lead them to as to try to protect those they love. The sequel picks up right where the first film left us. It began shortly after the climactic fight against Immortal Shan Kangbo. That's when Ao Bing joins forces with Ineza in a bid to protect him against the lightning strike, which was supposed to end his life 3 years after being burned from the demon corp. Unfortunately, neither could survive. Still, Immortal tries and uncapped their soul. Intact with his sacred lotus, now he regenerates them to a mold, allowing their soul to find a farm to operate. However, their mutual journey quickly comes to a head when Ao Bing's father, the Dragon King of the East, Ao Gang, wakes a war against Neza's native past, believing his son is dead. Ao Bing takes it upon himself to protect the people of Chen Teng Pass due to the change of heart from the time he spent with Nisa and his family. Sadly, his newly formed body does not survive his father and other Dragon's King. Vicious attack. Still, in his case, life finds a way. Jai comes to his rescue once again by helping him and Nisa share a body. It's how they both can coexist in the same form at least for 7 days. In those days, they must obtain an elixir from the Yuso place. Is the only way our being can sustain his life. Until that happens, he and Lisa will need to be at peace with each other. It's challenging since, true friends, they have nearly opposite personalities. Nisa can rarely hide his appearance and is rather mischievous as opposed to our being. So, in situation where it matters, our being takes a charge of the body. It still looks like the Nisa and not like a dragon. Together, they can assure that the gods do not let their predisposition against either demons or dragon get in the way of their goal. Tyson runs brings Nisa to Immortal Willing's place, presenting him as Aobing. It does not take Nisa long to show his mischievous self. The Chinese film's Nisa too includes plenty of action and plot twists, leading to powerful ending with message that every person should hear. The first Nisa came out in 2019, following the titular main character, born of Demon Orb, who tried to defy his fate with the help of his friend Ao Bing, born of the Spirit Pearl. In a shocking but exciting twist, Nisa 2, that torn inside out of Joe from the title of the highest grossing animated movie of all time. Nisa 2 picks up where the first movie left off. Nisa and Ao Bing try to make new bodies with a lotus flower. After Orbing's new body gets destroyed, the tube spirit must possess the Nisa new body and a journey to Zuze place, where he can test to become immortal and get the elixirs necessary to make another body for Orbing. While they go on this quest, Gangbo and the Dang Red Dragons hold Chanting Pass hostage. They will only let them go if Nisa succeed. What follows is a fast-paced story that reveals Wailing and a chance act as a true villain, leading to a traumatic end. In Nisa 2, Nisa and our being have ability that surpass all other monsters and human. As such, they're the two individual with the strongest chance of saving the dragon after they get trapped in the Dion's cauldron. However, when Nisa and our being attempt to lift the top of the cauldron on their own, they fail because the chant sect works together. In actuality, their power comes from their ability to inspire others to fight. Nisa and Obling had the effort to break out of the Dion cauldron, but the dragons can only escape when they all work together to fight back against the oppressive force of Young and the Khan sect. This part of the story reflects the collective state ideals of Chinese society which stress the duty and responsibilities to the group over the desire of the individuals. The dragon in Nizajo recognized that the individual could die fighting back, but they acknowledged that the group's goal of survival is more important. The biggest shock of the movie Nizajo is a reveal that Wailing actually destroyed Santang Pass, framing the dragons for the massacre after imprisoning and oppressing the dragons for a long time. He enlisted of the dragons ruler to destroy the town in exchange for their freedom and fealty. Meanwhile, the primary leader of the dragon and the rest of the group did not have anything to do with the attack. The entire destruction of Chanting Pass played into Wailing ultimate plan for domination. The leader of the Chan sect has repeatedly intervened in the conflict, killed one group, and framed me other. The clan's military forces the demon enter, then swoops in and punish the bad guy, painting themselves as a hero. However, they are actually putting the innocent parties into the tyrant cauldron, which changes each individual into an immortality, while that they can use to initiate more members of the community. They know precisely how to manipulate the situation so people of the communities think of the chance as morally righteous. Ultimately, Willing's plan, massacre, frame, defeat, and he became hero. Repeat over and over furthering the chance sex power because Wailing army paint themselves the good guys. Members of other communities track to the use a place for a slight chance for becoming immortal. Member of the Chan sect, moreover, even they have a stockpile of immortal willing exertion gem to make them more desirable. Part of this is reasons Nisa sides with the willing engaged dragon is that he finds his mother battle helmet, making him believe his appearance, Li Jing and Lady Win. They during the massacre, he might have felt less compelled to help if he know that his mom and dad made it out alive. However, the duo show up again toward the end of Nisa 2. It turns out Gangbo had saved Li Jing and Lady Win with the help of the demon that Nisa and Ao being fought. During the first Nisa, this might seem surprising at first glance, but it makes sense upon further reflection. Despite taking destructive action, Gangbo's motivation was never to harm the citizen of Janteng Pass, viewing them as a means to the end, while holding them captive. Gangbo connects with the Li Jing and Lady Win, which motivates him to save them during the massacre. Gangbo sweeps the duo and the demon away from the fighting. The demon petrifies their duo so that Wailing and his underlings won't be able to detect them when he buries himself under the ground. Meanwhile, Gangbo distracts the enemies by fighting back. After the mess is over, the demon uses his snout to under the fortification. After our being's body gets destroyed, Nisa and our being inhabit the same body while on a quest for immortality. If Nisa passes through trial and hides his demon orb, he can gain immortality and get the portion to make our being a new body. Unfortunately, Nisa can't conceal his demonic power, so they decide that our being should control the body during the trial. The back and forth of who insane control highlight the opposite but complementary nature of the character. Nisa is impulsive and masculine, while our being is invalidated and effeminate. The immortality intelligence in actually series as the first sign that willing and people are the bad guys. The immortality trials prove difficult. Whitneys are taking the sleeping pill so that our being can take over the body. They have to go up against three German, with each other getting captured or killed after their defeat. The presumptions during the trial is that it is a good reason the Khan is sending Diza after these demons. However, the immortality trials actually serve as the first sign that Welling and his people are the bad guy. None of these demons have ever been shown doing anything nefarious that warrants punishment, keeping to themselves until they are forced to fight. Throughout Nisato Wailing repeatedly bringing up the impending deifications war, but he never actually clarified what it is. The answer can be surmised by looking at the book The Investigator of the Gods or Feng Shen Yangi by Zhu Zongin or Vishiziza and Nizajo are loosely based. The classic Chinese novel is similar to the Lied by Homer in that it tells of an epic war to overthrow a corrupt king, during which deities immortal, demons spirit, and heroes meddle in the battle. By the end, Dazio, heroes and select decade member of the chain second to godhood, falling into a hierarchy based on their spiritual assassination while Niza movies stray from the source immortal in many ways. They are likely building up to an all-out war that will end the definition. However, the on-screen war may happen to exactly the same way that it does in waiting, but it will undoubtedly continue to improve upon his incredible animation of Nizato. Before the credits of Nizato, the Chan secretary to Yuzi plays while Nisa and Ao being decided to continue fighting against the oppressive group. However, this is not where the story ends. The movie has a mid-carriage scene that sets expectations for Nisato. During the scene, Wailing gives into to Walt, where Shan Gangbo and his father, Shan Zhengdo, are being held captive. Wailing offers to give Zhengdo a happy life if Gangbo agrees to have a fealty curse placed on him. It's unclear whether Gangbo intends to take the deal, as Wailing has to leave before he can answer. However, during his monologue, Wailing revealed that he has a special plan on how to use Gangbo in a defecations war. This could put the former valiants back into ballet, working against Nisa and all being in the Nisa tree. Additionally, Nisa could face his most difficult challenge yet in the third film. During the Nisa 2 mid-credit scene, his brothers arrive at Wu's place summoned by Wailing. Since their Warner presence for the revelation that the Chan sect are corrupt, they will likely agree to work with the Wailing. This could lead to Nisa fighting on opposite side from his brother if filmmaker Josie decides to make the Nisa 3. Although the events of Nisa 2 remain the same either way, the culture lens through which a viewer views the films heavily influences the core message. The animated movie includes heavily symbolism throughout the film, identifying the Chan sect as the United States of America. Looking at it through the lens of Chinese culture, the film is specifically a blatant call-out of the US government, militarism, corruption, and the oppression. This message will resonate with the global viewer, including some Americans who oppose the US government action. Examining the Nisato from a Western lens, the movie carries a strong anti-establishment message that could be applied to any form of corrupt authority. No matter which perspective a viewer takes, the ending sends his power message. It's better to try to fight for justice and fail than it is to willingly comply with justice. Nezha 2 came out at the perfect time, as the statement is more relevant than ever. Chinese box office phenomenon Nezha 2 began with a helpful recap of new viewer, and those already familiar with the franchise to keep back of the elaborate tale. The animated sequel, which has been on record-breaking scale, seen releasing in China during the Lunar New Year holiday and reaches North America today, expand on the character and mythology of the 2019 hit film. Damon Orb Nisa and Spirit Orb Orbing dead at the end of the previous Nisa, or at least their physical bodies did. As the sequel began, Master Immortal Joy construct new bodies from them out of scared lotus. Unfortunately, Orbing is spacious before his soul can settle in. But Joy has an idea. Both Nisa and Abuing can share Nisa body for 7 days. If they can complete Master's whaling Dashon assassination trials, Pointex can restore the scared lotus and make a new form of Aboing. The shared crafts lead to some sequences reminiscent of Steve Martin in All of Me as in Nisa and Obbing struggle to work out control at first. They learn to switch and when Obbing takes over. Nisa from changes as Nisa. His wide eyes often blinks in a different direction as Obbing Nisa body often and exhibits firm posture and more controlled movement. It seems this does not occur when often in the movie sense is among the film's most captivating instance of magic. The animation, which involves humans, animal, and dragon forms, does not quite achieve Pixar's level elegance, but it more than holds its own. The rendering of martial arts battle is as graceful as DreamWorks Animation's Kung Fu Panda series. The myriad creatures should appeal to international fans of fantasy epic like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings. The sea dragons return from Nisa 1, long and flowing creature like the kinds referenced in traditional Chinese dragon charms as opposed to be winged monsters of American fantasy. Creature participate in battle scene, such as an octopus, a man whose tentacle regenerator when cut off. Neza's third trial introduces the memorable creature Lady Shiji, a cross between his show white beaked queen asking mirror who is the fairest, and Medusa as she becomes a stone monster Neza fights. The film gets a little too busy with all of the additional plotting outside of Neza quest and trial. To the movie's credit, writer director Josie names all of the characters on screen and identifies locations and significant objects to help viewer follows along in any language. But Neza hometown of a Steel Battle Dragon, as for of breaking work with the Orbing's father and classical gods get involved too. The sequel does not deal with them passing a different state between the physical and heavenly realm as 2019 movie did, and there is exponentially more mythology added to Neza's story here. Once Neza's trial are completed, there are still more battle and complications to restoring his and Obing soul to separate bodies, let alone the state of Tentagon, Jaws, Sea Dragon, nefarious plot, and further conspiracle introduced late in the film.